Thank you, guys.
I might follow up with you.
Yeah, Robert Archer.
Robert Archer.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
You
sir.
got my vote, man.
Right on. Thanks,
I
bud.
might follow up with you.
My name is Robert Jefferson Archer III. I think my decision to run for council, honestly, to throw my name in the hat, came down to about 3 months ago. Is where I really started paying attention to what was going on locally. You know, we've moved to Denton, my wife, my family, we moved to Denton in 2012. You know, there's just a lot of things that's happening, and I see my young kids, and they're not young anymore. They're one's fixing to graduate this year from Denton High School. The other one is a sophomore this year. And you know, they're both driving, and you know, fine. I believe they're my kids. I believe they're fine young men, right? Or getting there. But I saw my youngest son post on social media. Essentially, him and his friends were down at the square, and you know, they were pretending and taking pictures of each other, like passed out, and you know, the homeless activity that was going on to those, you know, at our square that used to be a safe space. And you know, just all the events kind of started getting my attention. I started looking in at how things were handled on our council level that directly affect our staff. And I was like, you know what, there's a sense of reality that has been disassociated with what's going on in the real world with, you know, the local residents here in Denton. You know, I mean, so I was like, you know what, I need I can't just sit at home and complain about it. I need to throw my name in the hat, because, you know, I'm no expert in politics by any means. Do I know hardly anything about politics, but I know what works and what doesn't work. And I know what attracted me to move to Denton in 2012, and I know what's attracted me to stay here. And the people I know, you know, are essentially the same. You know, our community was, you know, at least when I moved here, Denton wasn't as big as it is now. It was still a larger city, you know, but it was a place of, you know, hope. You know, when I moved here, when my family and I moved here because of work. There was job opportunities, and growth opportunities, and there's still been that. There's still work here. There's still opportunities to grow here, but I think, you know, with decisions made at council that affect the long-term, you know, comfortness of if that's going to sustain, you know, I think it's had a line, and I was like, you know what, I know what works, and I don't mind being the no guy and saying, no, this is ridiculous. I don't mind being the guy that you know, that puts thought and listens to what people want. I mean, because ultimately our community, you know, I believe needs that, you know. And whenever I started, and I guess it goes on too, whenever I started looking at the people that represent me over the last couple of years, or you know, at least the district I'm in and currently, they don't represent me. They don't represent my neighbors. You know, I can't speak for everybody in my neighborhood or in the district that I'm running, but I know, you know, the house I live in, that we were lucky enough to purchase just a year ago. You know, I live next door. 8 of my direct neighbors are original owners to the houses. You know, and they've welcomed my family to the neighborhood with open arms. And it's an older community, been around since the 80s. And like I said, I mean, they're original owners here. And just listening to them, they've raised their families, their kids have moved off. And most of them, their families have moved out of Denton. And so it's hard to, you know, get their family to come back. And one of my good neighbors, you know, I talk to his kids when they come and visit. because you know they host barbecues and invite us over and all that stuff. You know, good neighborly fun. And I asked them, you know, how come you didn't stay and didn't? And their response was, it's not home anymore. And you know, with my kids fixing to leave the house and leave the nest, you know, that's my fear, is that my kids won't come back because this isn't home anymore. Because we've designed it to a place where, you know, there's not that family sense anymore. And you know, I feel I need to, you know, give my 2 cents, and fight for that family sense that our community needs. You know, so yeah, it could be a personal thing, but it's more than personal, because it takes a community to you know, make things home. It is 2026, right? So cities are desperately trying to catch up with what's going on around. But you know, there's a lot of things they haven't done well. Like, we can talk about development, we can talk about growth. It's happening if we want it or not. You know, and I know a big complaint is roads and traffic, and I understand, with my years of experience of government work and municipal work, you have to have the tax base there. So you got to build it so you can get the tax base, so you can improve your capital, you know, all your other capital, the roads and all that stuff. It takes money. But Denton's not new to this, you know, and somewhere along the line, they've essentially lost touch, right? They've lost the reality that of let's build it, right? Kind of like that. What's that old movie? I'm trying to think of that old movie. If you build it, they will come, right? Field of Dreams. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, right. That's kind of the hope. I think that Denton's direction has gone to, is that, you know, oh, if we build it, people will come, and people are coming if we like it or not. I think, you know, the city of Denton's tried to manage things the best they can, but I think when they're given bad information, or they're given information in general, and they don't do their own research, you know, they're setting themselves up for failure, right? So let's go a little off topic, and I'll explain it a little bit later as well. Like, you know, the Our Daily Bread, the homeless shelter, right? The contract for that. So Denton was established many years ago. Just some of the history I know about Denton, or I've read about, right? Denton was established as a perfect location, right, for industrial growth, right, for home growth. You know, and what was it, 1980-ish? We got Peterbilt to come here because of our location. Our Daily Bread is failing. Audits have shown that. Yet we still signed the contract. We haven't had anybody enforce the contract. You know, we're the hub for the county, right? City of Denton is the hub for the county. Our county resources are stationed here in our city. Not only county, we have state and federal level as well. Of course, we have FEMA here, but we're letting the county dictate our homeless initiative. You go to the strategic plan for the homeless initiative at the City of Denton webpage, and it flat out tells you that, hey, our partners in Denton County is why. You know, my question is, why are we letting the county dictate what happens in our city and our community? And you know, with some experience, there's been some. I have experienced some of the miscommunication and misdirection between the county and the city, right? And to be honest, on the city level, that starts at council. I mean, 100%. It starts on council, having the right staff, having the right encouragement. It is council's fault that staff morale is horrible. It is council's fault that you know, things are mismanaged and, you know, misevaluated. You know, everyone's focused on that $14 million that the city was, you know, and there could be finger pointing. It is what it is, right? It's zero balanced budget. The city, they have to make it a zero balanced budget. So it means they have to make cuts. They have to, you know, make decisions. And with experience, as working in the industry I've worked in for years, you know, I've dealt with government budgets and city budgets, and there's you have to stuff, and then there's wish list stuff. And so the city had to make, the employees and the staff had to make decisions of what we have, you know, what do we have to run. But, you know, when I see council members and, oh, well, we should get an audit. Oh, we should get an outside firm. Oh, well, what are we having our staff do? Why are we paying contracts that just, you know, make no sense? You know, why, there's just a lot of things that, you know, I'm no expert on one subject, and I'm no expert on the ins and outs of things. I just know what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and some things don't make sense. Like we talk about, what has the city not done? I was sitting in a city council meeting just, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. I don't remember the date. I got the notes of it, but I don't remember the date. And it was a real short council meeting. I mean, it lasted barely an hour. And they were essentially annexing property over there by Martin High School, or Ryan High School, I'm sorry. Said Martin because my son's going to Martin for his SAT test. Over there by Ryan High School, they were doing the ETG or the ETJ, and essentially annexing property that the annexation expired, and they had to re-annex. And I heard the council ask the staff, did you make contact with the people that live at the property? And they're like, well, we attempted. And I heard a council member ask, well, did you send a certified letter? And the answer from the staff was no. But yet council still approved the annexation, for them to move forward with the annexation. That right there should have been a red flag. Why are we not sending certified letters? Why are we not doing everything we have to? Because potentially, if somebody wanted to, you annex my property, I live right outside the city limits, you annex me, if it expired and you didn't make contact, you set yourself up for lawsuits. The question was asked, but yet it was still approved unanimously. There's things like that. We talk about accountability, you know, because I'm big on accountability. If you ask a question, you get an answer, and it's then you pump the brakes. It's okay to table things. As much as council meets anyways, you can table things. And hardly do I ever see things tabled, you know, and it's okay to table things. It's okay to say, oh, nope, time out, go back to the drawing boards and start over. And I believe our city needs to do that. So yeah. A hot mess. Some of this goes back to my experience. So I only got like 2 months left with the Denton High School Band Booster Club. I'm the president. This is my last year of being the president of the Denton High School. I've been involved with, my son's been in Denton High School since the new Denton High School opened, which will be the first graduating class this year of going all 4 schools, or 4 years of the new school. And the last 2 years I've been president. Before that I was vice president there at the Booster Club. And I learned a whole lot about asking people for money. You know, first year when I was vice president there, you know, we were asking constantly money, because it takes money to run programs. It takes money to do things. And, you know, just the voices of the parents, right, were concerned because, you know, just asking so much on the money. So the last year, we tried a different tactic, right? We quit asking so much, and we actually gave a return of investment, right? We would ask for stuff, and we would set up community events and do car washes. We would set up and you know, do the march-a-thon down at the square where the kids would perform, and they raised. This is the most money the Booster Club has ever raised in a long time. And it comes from the community. So I've learned if you quit asking the community for their hard-earned work and money, that you actually get more involvement from people, because they learn that you're just not wanting a handout. Plus also, you know, you hear people talk about, a large majority of people in town live paycheck to paycheck. Well, I'm one of those people. Me and my wife, we like I said, we got lucky and we were able to purchase our house a year ago. We've rented in Denton since 2012, and seen the price of things go up and up and up and up. I mean, we were lucky enough. We had a 2-bedroom apartment at one time we were paying $700 a month for. And now, you can't, the same apartment now lives for almost $1,200 a month. There's not enough work in town to sustain all our community. There's a lot of people that had to travel out of town because there's not enough growth, and then or businesses, and then the businesses that do employ a large amount. I mean, you're talking about $20 to $30 an hour, and with the cost of living here in Denton, so I really can't take people's money for a sign in my yard, or for I had a guy call me the other day for the campaign stuff, and he was like, oh, well, for your district it will cost like $75, and we can do the targeting cell phone ad stuff. And I'm like, why am I going to waste that money to harass somebody on the phone? I get phone calls and text messages daily on my phone about how I've won a trip, or my AARP. I don't want to harass people like that. I'd rather somebody come and hang out at a place like this here at the skate park and just enjoy the outside, a little bit of quietness, seeing people enjoy life, and start talking to people versus bombarding them with cell phones, technology. So the way I'm running things, of course, is 100% on Facebook. My district is small right now as far as population goes. We're building another 900 homes just north, which that's a poor decision, but it's already approved, so we're going to move forward with it. So I'm just like, I'd rather people talk. I'd rather, my experience like I said, my experience as the president is people will talk, and that's what we want, and at least that's what I want. I don't want people's money. I don't want to, owe anybody anything. I don't want to be indebted to anybody, because that's the way I feel. I work hard for my money. So if I give money, I want a return of investment, right? That's kind of like, let's talk, I talked about homeless. I'm more likely to give somebody $20 to go get food, right? If I see them on the side of the road actually struggling and they're asking, they ain't got bottles of booze or dope right next to them, right? Done it 100 times, right? Oh, here's some money, go get some food. Oh, you need a room tonight? Sweet, let me hook you up. I got enough hotel points. Man, I can hook you up with 2 nights of free, because I travel for work, so I get hotel points and stuff. So, I mean, I'm not going to use them. I'm not going to ask people for money. It is 2026. Prices of everything are going through the roof, and I'm just not going to do it. Right? We all work too hard. Granted, I know some people, they flat out have told me their words, right? What I got is money. What I don't have is time. Right? They work so much, they got a lot of money. They'd rather just, here's a check, blindly give money, right? Because they support a cause. But I'm not going to do that to them because they're working so much. You work that hard, eventually you're going to want to slow down, and you're going to want to enjoy life and just chill. Plus also, a big focus is too, the city blowing through money and mismanaged money, right? And they got to scale back. Well, I'm scaling back, right? There's no reason to spend money on stuff that's, not needed, right? I mean, I make that choice monthly. Can I pay my electric bill? Am I going to make this car payment? I'll skip this credit card payment this month. I'll just pay the late fee. Oh, cool. A little button, I can extend that payment without a late fee, right? I mean, money's a big thing, because unfortunately, it takes money to do anything in life, and I'm just not going to take that away from people on something frivolous. So I'm biased on this, right? Because I've been a municipal worker for 17 years. I worked for different municipalities. I was an employee once upon a time here in Denton myself. 2012 to 2016. Granted, I probably didn't leave on the best of terms, but I mean, I've advanced so much in my career now. I don't care, right? And I think that's the biggest thing for me is I don't care. And I think a lot of that, right, when we talk about the I don't care attitude, right, that's what happens to our staff, right? In order to maintain our city, I'll give an example, right? Right before, literally 2 weeks before I went and filled out the paperwork at City Council to put my name on the ballot, I had, the trash people that come to my neighborhood to pick up the trash, and I got my recycle bin and I got my trash bin outside, and the trash people picked up the trash, and then the truck driver came shortly after to pick up the recycle. Well, I just purchased a brand new washing machine. So when they delivered the washing machine in the box, the bottom of the box, cardboard box, had some styrofoam glued to it. I knew a little bit better, but I just threw all the cardboard in the box, right? The driver got out of the truck and put a tag on my recycle bin. I was outside smoking a cigarette, and he put a tag on my recycle bin. So I went out there. I was like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" He goes, "I can't take this because it's got styrofoam in it." I said, "Okay, man." I said, I'll throw it in the trash can. That's cool. He said, "If you do that, I'll take it." He goes, but his words, he goes, "If I take this, they'll write me up for it." Was his words to me. I said, "I got you, dog." And so I pulled it out, and he dumped it, went on his merry way. But for an employee to tell me, if I take this, I'll get written up, that right there, that's mismanagement 101. You had to build a culture, and the culture starts with your council, right? I'm at the point in my career now. I'm an old guy in the industry, right? I'm really not, but so I travel the state of Texas currently, and I teach professionals that work for municipalities or different industries, right? And so I teach them, and one of the things that I teach is that for safety programs and for support, and to support staff, isn't just your managers, your city managers, your directors, your superintendents. It starts at the highest level. It starts at council, right? You have to have that buy-in to support your staff. So staff turnover, I heard a matter of fact, on your video, our Mayor Pro Tem say, it's expected for staff turnover when the city manager leaves, right? Turnover has happened well before the city manager decided she was going to leave. Turnover has been happening with the city. None against Susie. I mean, she's a bright, young, she's doing a good job. But it's not the city manager that keeps it together. It's the city council that keeps it together. From experience of being municipal workers, when something comes from the city manager's office, it comes from council 9 times out of 10. Council has a complaint or has a question for something, and I have seen departments move heaven and earth in order to get that answer. They will stop what they're doing and focus 100% on stuff that comes from council's office, and at times that's needed. But it shouldn't matter who your city manager is. It shouldn't matter who your council is. If you support your staff, they're going to support the city. I mean, that's who runs the city is the city staff, the people that do our parks, the people that do the water, our street department. That there's a sense of pride. It's more than just a check, right? When we talk about the street department, we talk about the water department, we're talking about police and fire. Those are all critical infrastructure, right? Those are all emergency response personnel. Do we treat them that way? Since 2004, our water and wastewater, our public works department are classified as emergency response, right? We give the attention to police and fire, but we have those individuals that will go out in the middle of the night and work a water main break and be gone from their family 36 hours, or on a sewer backup, and they're gone. They're working. They got to pack up. They're on call. They got to pack up and leave in the middle of the night. Phone rings, right? They're emergency response, and they're there to support our city and our community. And it's tough work. I did it for years, right? And it starts at the council level. It starts with supporting the staff, right? There's accountability aspects, but our staff shouldn't be scared to be written up for taking styrofoam. Our staff shouldn't learn to ignore things right? And just drive by because, oh, it's not my job mentality, or if I say something, I'm gonna get in trouble. And like I said, that starts with council, that starts with the management. You know, you can only take so much, and staff understands. They don't always agree and they don't always like it, but they understand, hey, we're facing financial crisis, right? We're going to have to not give pay raises. We're going to have to do pay freezes. We're going to have to do hiring freezes, right? They understand that because I've had to deal with it for many years. We don't like it. We understand it. If you're supported, money's just, I mean, we all want to make more money, right? But if you're actually supported and nourished, that sometimes an attaboy goes way farther than money ever can, right? And I think somewhere, and I don't know where, but somewhere I think, you know, council, current or previous council has set that standard where they're just our staff are just forgotten about, and you know, the culture means a lot. So the only thing I got right now is my Facebook, right? It's what is it, Robert J. Archer for City of Denton Council. I have my Facebook page on there. I can be reached through a messenger. Got my email on there, as well as my phone number. I mean, I'm not doing any websites. I'm not, you know, all that costs money. I rather, you know, I invite people to reach out to me. If I can't respond right then, I will respond. You know, just like everybody else, I have to work. And during the times that I work, you know, I got to pay attention to that because I got bills to pay. You know, but yeah, I mean, most definitely the Facebook thing is what I do. And I stumble my way through that. But, you know, I mean, I'm not afraid to, you know, of any forms of communication. If people got recommendations, I just, you know, stumbling my way through this new world of technology.
Like Superman, like Wonder Woman, like Batman, he is enjoying wider circulation now than at any time in the last quarter century.
I've come for you, Kingpin.
Of course, in the comic book heydays during World War II, at least 600 million comic books were selling each year, under 600 titles. Last year, perhaps 300 million books were sold, under 300 titles.
Sam was able to race his horse, jump on the train. I mean, they do it in movies now, but it's really stupid, okay? I mean, because seriously, just put a tree down on the track, they stop, come on, you know? But I mean, they're not thinking. He jumps on the train, and they actually wind up finding newly minted gold pieces, $20 gold pieces, solid gold, that's bound for the mint in San Francisco. And it's $60,000. Now, in today's money, like there were 6 members of the gang, they each got 10 grand apiece. But in today's money, that would have been millions of dollars.